with horsemen against tanks.
The great you wrote. I made her a promise.
The story of 12 Strong unfolds in the tense days, following a devastating terrorist attack that shook the United States and changed the course of global politics forever. The world suddenly found itself facing a new kind of war, one that would not be fought through massive armies alone, but through small groups of highly trained soldiers operating deep inside hostile territory. In this intense and emotional narrative, the focus is placed on a small team of American Special Forces soldiers who are given one of the most dangerous and unusual missions imaginable. Their assignment is not just to fight an enemy, but to enter an unfamiliar land, build alliances with local fighters, and strike at a powerful extremist force that has already taken control of large regions. At the center of the story is Captain Mitch Nelson, a highly skilled and determined Special Forces officer, who feels an overwhelming sense of duty to serve his country during this critical moment in history. Mitch is not only a soldier but also a husband and father, and the weight of leaving his family behind adds emotional depth to his decision to volunteer for the mission. When news of the attack spreads across the nation, he immediately understands that everything is about to change. For soldiers like him, the quiet routine of training and preparation is replaced by the urgent reality of a war that demands action. Mitch refuses to remain on the sidelines while other units deploy overseas. He passionately argues that his team should be sent into the fight as well, believing that their experience and skills could make a crucial difference. His determination eventually convinces military leadership to allow his Special Forces unit to be among the first groups deployed into the heart of enemy territory. The mission they receive is both simple and terrifying: travel deep into Afghanistan, locate a powerful warlord who opposes the extremist forces, and help him reclaim territory that has fallen under enemy control. The team assembled for the mission consists of 12 elite soldiers, each bringing unique expertise and experience to the operation. These men are not just warriors but specialists in strategy, communication, and unconventional warfare. They understand that their success will depend not only on combat ability, but also on their capacity to adapt to an environment completely different from anything they have faced before. The bond between them is strong, built on trust developed through years of training and shared hardship. When the soldiers finally arrive in Afghanistan, they immediately realize how unfamiliar and dangerous the landscape truly is. Towering mountains, harsh deserts, and isolated villages create a battlefield unlike any modern military operation they have experienced. The terrain itself becomes an obstacle, making it nearly impossible for heavy equipment or large forces to move quickly. Every decision must be carefully calculated because one mistake could leave them trapped far from any support. Shortly after arriving, the team meets General Abdul Rashid Dostum, a powerful local leader who commands a group of fighters, determined to push back against the extremist forces occupying their homeland. The alliance between the American soldiers and Dostum's fighters becomes the heart of the mission. At first there is tension and uncertainty, as both sides must learn to trust one another despite differences in culture, language, and military tactics. However, they quickly realize that they share a common goal: defeating an enemy that threatens everyone. One of the most surprising aspects of the mission emerges when the soldiers discover that modern military vehicles cannot operate effectively in the rugged terrain where battles must be fought. Instead of relying on armored trucks or tanks, the Special Forces team must adapt to the local way of fighting. This means riding into combat on horseback alongside their Afghan allies, an image that feels almost surreal in the context of modern warfare. The sight of highly trained soldiers charging across mountains on horseback while coordinating airstrikes, using advanced technology, highlights the unique nature of the mission. It is a striking blend of ancient and modern warfare, where centuries-old combat methods exist side by side with cutting-edge military equipment. This unusual strategy becomes essential for navigating the narrow mountain passes and remote valleys controlled by enemy forces. As the team begins working with their allies, they quickly encounter the brutal reality of the conflict. The extremist fighters they are facing are well-armed, deeply entrenched, and completely unwilling to surrender. Every battle becomes a test of courage and resilience as the small group of soldiers faces overwhelming odds. Despite being vastly outnumbered, they rely on careful planning, communication with air support, and the courage of their Afghan partners to slowly push back against enemy strongholds. The emotional intensity of the mission grows stronger as the soldiers witness the devastating impact the conflict has had on local communities. Villages have been destroyed, families displaced, and entire regions placed under the control of brutal forces. These scenes reinforce the importance of the mission, reminding the team that their actions could help restore freedom and stability to people who have suffered under oppression. Throughout the story, Captain Mitch Nelson struggles with the responsibility of leadership in such a dangerous environment. Every decision he makes could mean the difference between life and death for his men. He must balance aggressive action with caution, ensuring that his team remains united and focused despite the constant threats surrounding them. His leadership style emphasizes trust and cooperation, allowing each member of the team to contribute their expertise when facing complex situations. The partnership between the American soldiers and their Afghan allies gradually becomes stronger as they fight side by side. What begins as a cautious alliance slowly evolves into genuine respect and camaraderie. Cultural differences that once created distance begin to fade as both groups realize they are fighting for the same goal. This growing bond becomes one of the most powerful elements of the story, showing how shared struggle can unite people from completely different backgrounds. As the mission progresses, the battles become more intense and dangerous. The enemy controls fortified positions in mountainous areas that are extremely difficult to attack. In order to break through these defenses, the team coordinates daring assaults supported by precision airstrikes. These operations require perfect timing and communication, as even the smallest mistake could lead to disaster. One of the most dramatic moments occurs when the combined force launches a major assault against a heavily defended enemy city. The battle is fierce and chaotic, with explosions echoing across the valley and fighters charging forward under heavy fire. The American soldiers must rely on both their training and the bravery of their allies to overcome the enemy's numerical advantage. The courage displayed by the team during these battles becomes legendary. Despite the constant danger, they refuse to retreat or abandon the mission. Their determination inspires the local fighters, strengthening the alliance and pushing the combined force closer to victory. The battlefield becomes a symbol of resilience, where courage and cooperation overcome fear and uncertainty. At the same time, the story never forgets the personal sacrifices made by the soldiers involved. Each member of the team carries thoughts of family and loved ones back home, reminding viewers that these warriors are not just fighters but ordinary people placed in extraordinary circumstances. The emotional weight of this responsibility adds depth to their actions, making every victory and loss feel deeply meaningful. As the conflict reaches its climax, the combined forces prepare for a final push against one of the most powerful enemy strongholds in the region. The outcome of this battle will determine whether the mission succeeds or fails. Tension rises as the soldiers plan their strategy, knowing that the enemy will defend the position with everything they have. The battle that follows is intense and unforgettable. Explosions, gunfire, and the thunder of charging horses create a dramatic scene that captures the chaos of war. Through skill, bravery, and determination, the small team manages to turn the tide of the battle, proving that even a small group of determined soldiers can change the course of a larger conflict. When the fighting finally ends, the mission stands as an extraordinary example of courage and cooperation. The soldiers have not only helped their allies reclaim territory, but also demonstrated the power of unity in the face of overwhelming odds. Their story becomes a symbol of the sacrifices made by those who serve in the armed forces. The emotional conclusion reflects on the journey these soldiers have experienced together. They arrived in a foreign land as strangers surrounded by uncertainty and danger, but they leave having forged bonds that will last a lifetime. The mission may have ended, but the memory of what they accomplished together continues to shape the lives of everyone involved. The story ultimately highlights the human side of warfare, focusing not just on battles, but on the relationships and sacrifices that define the experience of those who fight. It reminds viewers that behind every military operation are individuals who must confront fear, responsibility, and the hope that their actions will make a difference. In the end, the narrative stands as a powerful tribute to the bravery of a small group of soldiers who faced impossible odds and refused to give up. Their mission represents a unique chapter in modern military.